Good morning and welcome to the April 17, 2019 Pinellas County Tourism Development Council. I'll start with introductions, starting with Phil.
Phil Henderson, Starlight Cruises, South Pasadena, Madeira Beach, and Clearwater.
Trisha Rodriguez at Clearwater Ferry and the Tropics Boat Tours.
Doreen Moore, TRS, Travel Resort Services.
Michael Azas, County Attorney's Office.
Karen Seal, Chair of the Pinellas County Board of County Commissioners.
Paul Sacco, Interim President and CEO of Visit St. Pete Clearwater.
Russ Kimball, Sheraton Sankey, Clearwater Beach.
George Craddock, City of Clearwater.
Chuck Prather, the Birchwood, St. Petersburg.
And the Olden Suites, Tony Satterfield.
Great. Well, thank you for being here. Charlie Gertis sent his sincere regrets for not being here. They had a death in the family, so he's pitching in to help with all of that. So our sympathies to he and his family. Want to welcome Paul Sacco. He is the man who wears many hats, and he is now our interim CEO for Visit St. Pete Clearwater. He is also the director of our solid waste department, and he formerly was the assistant county administrator. So he has been very busy, and we welcome you and thank you for your service.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity and look forward to working with everyone.
Okay, great. And as you know, our other interim director, Jim Dean, has left to go back to his hometown and to run the Nashville Zoo. And I also wanted to welcome Barry Burton, who's our county administrator. Do you have any comments you'd like to share? You're just an observer today.
Just been here for a few minutes.
Okay, great. Wanted to update you on a few things. We've had Cookie Kennedy, Julie Bajowski, Charlie Gertis, George Credicus, Tony Satterfield, Chuck Prather, Russ Kimball, and Doreen Moore volunteer for the Elite Event Committee. And per the guidelines, which are not guidelines, they are prescriptive, we have to have 4 from the tourism category and 2 from the other. So right now, Tony, Chuck, and Russ are from the tourism category, and so if anybody else is interested, please let me know. I will be trying to make a decision because it has to be 4, again, from tourism, 2 from the other category. Are you interested?
Sure.
Okay. So I will try to provide balance and let you know this afternoon, but the meeting is May the 29th from 10 until 2. And I will also, again, prescriptive guidelines say that the chair must serve as well. I wanted to, you probably noticed in the newspaper that the county commission reviewed the Dali request, and we agreed to at least have it move on to the consultant for review of its of all of its merits, and it will then come back along with the other capital projects at a later date to the Tourism Development Council, as well as to the thereafter to the county commission. Michael has provided a legal review of the capital projects that have been proposed, and we decided to have the county commission take a look at it because remember the capital projects is truly guidelines and it's not mandatory that we follow, it's more policy. So we thought, given some of the criteria that some of the capital projects do not meet, that it would be at least wise to have it come to the county commission to take a look at it from a legal perspective. And that'll happen on May the 7th. And then it will come to the TDC meeting on May the 15th for you all to also review it and decide whether it moves forward through the consultant review. Okay. The other thing I wanted to mention is we are still working on a transportation work session for the county commission. So that I had promised after we did that review, then it would come to the Tourist Development Council, and then we would have a joint meeting. But since it's not scheduled yet, I just wanted to at least apprise you of that, and I will keep you updated as we have more information on that. Okay, so with that, welcome, Keith. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, sorry I'm late. Keith Overton, president of Tradewinds Island Resorts on St. Pete Beach, Florida.
Must be all that tourism traffic on the roads.
It's a good thing, I guess.
I'd like to ask for approval of the Tourist Development Council minutes for February 20th, 2019, and March 13th, 2019.
Move approval.
Second.
Second? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. It's now time for public comments. Come on up. Morning, it's nice to see you.
Good morning, I'm TDC Bullard, and the folks at home and behind me. I'm Missy from the Treasure Island Madeira Beach Chamber of Commerce, and I just wanted to let everyone know that we're doing our 3rd annual health fair this Thursday. Anything from checking the veins on your legs to HIV test, we're doing this Thursday between 10 and 2, and you're all welcome to attend. It is free to the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else from the public like to address the Tourist Development Council? Okay, thank you. Moving on to the county attorney's report, Michael Zoss.
I have nothing this morning, Commissioner. Thank you.
Okay. Next, we'll have a legislative update from Brian Loeck. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioner. Good morning, TDC members. Brian Loeck, Pinellas County Intergovernmental Liaison. And I just wanted to come today and give you a quick update on where we are in the legislative session, particularly as it relates to 3 pieces of legislation and 2 budgetary items that we've been tracking for the Tourist Development Council. Right now, we're at the midway point of week 7. Session is a 9-week process, so we're getting towards the home stretch. Next week, we anticipate budget conferences starting on Tuesday or Wednesday, and those will need to wrap up by about the following Tuesday in order to pass a budget to send to the governor after the 72-hour cooling period. So as far as legislation goes, first one I want to talk about is Senate Bill 178. As you know, Visit Florida will sunset October 1 if there's no reauthorization of the program. Currently in the Senate bill is on it's up for final passage in the Senate on the floor this morning. There is a bill on the House side, however, this bill has yet to be heard. So we'll come back to this a little bit later. Next is House Bill 791, and this is the sports franchise and facilities. And last time I was here, I told you about that a little bit. That did pass the full House last week. However, it does not have a Senate companion bill. Final piece of legislation is Senate Bill 1708, and this is Senator Roussan's Tourist Development Council's bill. This will be heard, it's awaiting its 3rd and final committee hearing, and there is not a House companion at the moment. As far as the budget's concerned, the 2 things we've been tracking are Visit Florida. Currently, Visit Florida is funded at, in the last 2 years, has been funded at $76 million. This year, the Senate proposes $50 million, which would be a significant cut. However, in the House side, they only provide for $19 million, and that $19 million would essentially get Visit Florida through October 1 of this year when it would expire. Next is Beach Nourishment, and the last few years we've had $50 million for statewide beach nourishment projects. The House is supporting $50 million, but on the Senate side, they're only at $44.5 million. So typically from a Board of County Commissioners perspective, we've been advocating for $50 million recurring. It doesn't look like we're going to get that this year, so we are pushing for $50 million this year. We'll come back and fight for recurring next year. Those are the updates I have for you all, and I can answer any questions you've got.
Anybody have any questions? Yes, Phil.
So with no, you say parallel bill or whatever in the House with regard to Visit Florida?
So they've got a bill, and it just hasn't been heard yet in committee, hasn't been calendared yet. This is one of those big issues that they'll be negotiating in the next 2.5 weeks as they get into conference. Last year, it was also a negotiating chip when they went to conference. So we expect that to be negotiated at the end. If they do come to an agreement on that, they'll find a way to get that legislation through on the House side, and I would imagine funding would come shortly after that, if they agree to those terms.
I think I misspoke. The 791's the one you said there was no bill in the Senate.
Correct. Sports franchise and facilities.
So how's that going to work?
So if you don't get heard in at least one committee, you can't really, you're not supposed to be able to be amended onto another bill. However, with the legislature, you can always waive rules. So as every day that goes by, it'll be harder and harder for anything to rise in the House. But for right now, I think that legislation is going to have difficulty getting passed this year.
Could I ask you more about Senate Bill 1708?
Yes.
You say by resolution, so the county commission would have to adopt a resolution? Or?
Correct. And just to give you a little bit of a background on where the bill sponsor, what he intends to do with this legislation, it's still written pretty broad. It was a new concept, but essentially it would be up to the Board of County Commissioners at their discretion, if they so choose, to pass a resolution that would allow more than one tourist development council in the county. And that would only be applicable to the currently 6 counties that have a population of over 900,000, Pinellas being one. And in that resolution, it would essentially authorize two or more tourist development councils. What I think the bill sponsor envisions, if that were to be the case, is that there would be the multiple tourist development councils would make recommendations to the Board of County Commissioners on how to spend the tourist development tax dollars that are collected within the area, the portion of the county that each tourist development council would oversee.
But if it doesn't have, has it been heard in committees already?
In the Senate committee, it's on its 3rd and final committee stop in the Senate. However, there's no language in the House
And if you don't have the House bill, then it's going to...
Correct. I think this is an issue that this session likely will not pass. However, I would expect it to be back next year, and I think you all should advocate, take a position moving in as this session wraps up and get ahead of it for next year.
All right, any other questions?
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Brian, for the excellent report. Next is Visit St. Pete Clearwater Chief Operating Officer Report, Tim, and I probably stole part of your thunder on the lead event.
That's quite all right. On the first item that I have, good morning, everyone. On the Elite Event Program, I will take the opportunity to update you on the status. We opened up the applications on April 1st, appropriately enough, and they will close on April 26th. We did conduct a public information meeting on April 2nd, so we're off and running on the application process there. I'll skip over capital funding, as the chair covered that. Sports facility feasibility study. You recall at the last meeting, you all looked at whether or not we wanted to proceed forward with an RFP process. So we have drafted up an RFP. What you have in your packet is just a portion of obviously what that RFP would look like, but it's the relevant piece that deals with the overview and the substance of the feasibility study that we would like to proceed with. We would like your input to the extent you have any. You can provide that directly to myself. And I can share it throughout this process. We would like to move forward with this at some point in the near term. So I would ask that if you could get something within a week or so, that would be preferred. This process will follow every other similar process within the county government. It all goes through our purchasing department. So this will get wrapped up into a standard RFP and get pushed out and distributed to the public in that fashion. So if you have any quick questions or any comments on that right now, that'd be great. Otherwise, just at your leisure, get me your comments back. The last item I have is the meetings and conventions ROI. Again, at the last meeting, the chair asked for us to do a bit of an ROI report out on what Suzanne Hackman had reported on her meetings and conventions business. You have that in your packet. Again, I would ask a similar approach. If you have any questions or comments on that. This is obviously a prelude to our budget workshop, which will be on May 15th. So, it gives you an idea of how our departments are responding to the ROI request at this point. So it's in your packet for review.
Just real quick question on this. Is this revenue generated within that year?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a question on that, but it's something on Elite.
Elite?
So you reviewed them all, and where are we at then? I just volunteered for the meeting on May 29th. When do I get to start reading?
Applications haven't closed yet. They closed April 26th.
Oh, they closed April 26th, okay.
Yeah, it's a still open period right
Oh, I
now.
thought you said I've seen you opened them up and started reviewing them or whatever. but
No,
now
my
you're-
apologies if I misspoke. The process opened for applicants to apply starting April 1st, and it will close on
Closed.
April 26th.
Okay. And how many do we have?
I honestly don't know. We haven't checked yet. We usually won't check till April 26th.
Okay. When do we expect to receive those for our review before the meeting?
Because we have converted to an electronic system, we can get those to you the very following day if you prefer that quickly. We would like to get them to our agency to review as well and staff to review, and obviously Michael Zoss will do a legal review of eligibility
Okay, and,
well in advance of the committee meeting.
right,
Yes.
to refresh my memory, now we've changed the strategy on the thing, and certain ones will be put on some sort of a consent agenda based on their past performances.
Yes, that's your express lane, so
Right.
quote unquote, under the guidelines.
Okay. All right, very good.
Yeah, we have some new twists and turns this year. We've got some
Anxiously
some
await.
changes.
Thanks.
Anything else?
Okay,
Thank
thank
you
you
so
very
much.
much.
Appreciate
Tim.
it.
Appreciate it. Okay, next we have our department report. One this month, leisure travel. And welcome, Rosemary.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. It's very nice to be here. It's been a little while since we had a chance to get you caught up on what we're doing on leisure travel. So just going to take a few moments to talk about a few things, a couple of successes we've had so far this year. Back in January, Visit Florida puts on their annual conference, Visit Florida. It is one of the largest tourism shows in Florida. We had 14 travel industry partners join us at the conference, so we had a very large contingent. We had opportunity to do over 40 appointments. These are pre-scheduled appointments with tour operators from across the world, across the United Kingdom, from Canada, Germany, and again, some very good feedback from those markets. The German market is starting to turn around a little bit. We heard some very positive comments from some of our German operators. Our UK operators, again, with Brexit causing some challenges. We're yet to see how that's going to pan out this summer. I'm looking forward to seeing some of our Canadian numbers that have come in this winter time period. So again, overall, a very, very good show for us. Next year, Florida Huddle will be in Jacksonville. And so again, this is put on every year by Visit Florida. Another conference, another opportunity to meet with buyers from across the world is Connect Travel Marketplace. Part of our overreaching agreement with Connect as far as our sponsorships with the meetings and convention side of what Connect does, we had an opportunity to be at Connect Travel Marketplace for the second year. This show continues to grow. They did have a lot of emerging markets participate in the show. We had the opportunity to meet with a lot of tour operators from the China market, from the India market, as well as some of our key markets. We did find that our Irish clients have a lot of conflicts with dates and Florida Huddle. So they found that Connect was a great opportunity for them to be in Florida and to meet with us. And because it is just over in Orlando, it's very cost effective for us to get over there and meet with all of these operators. And again, this show is coming back to Gaylord in 2020. We also included, as part of our agreement with Connect, was industry partnerships. So we did have 2 industry partners attend with us, and they had their own separate appointments as well, to kind of gauge the effectiveness of this show. That's just a quick photo of the group at Florida Huddle. Another show series we did this past few months was the Travel and Adventure shows. These are consumer shows, and they're very different than consumer shows from 10 years ago. They have about 15 to 20,000 consumers that attend these shows, and these consumers pay to be at these shows. So they are looking for opportunities to engage with people from all over the world about travel. Factors that we look at when we're considering going to these shows are air service coming into our area from the different markets. We did 8 shows this year: Chicago, San Francisco, Denver, Philadelphia, Washington, San Diego, Los Angeles, and Dallas. Again, we look at show attendance. What's the cost for us to be at these shows? The demographics of these shows. The show producer does provide us with those demographics, so we know the average age, the average income, household income for the consumers that are coming to these shows. We also look at partner participation. We had participation from our industry partners at every single show that we went to, which again, we look at after the shows. We call it our partner barometer, and we look at what the results are from those shows for our partners. And then we also try to put together some metrics, because again, we don't come back from these shows with RFPs for room nights. These are consumers. We are there to tell the story of St. Pete Clearwater. We're there with 10, 12 other Florida destinations. Our competition is there as well. Again, vying for these consumers and wanting to educate them about our destination. And we found some really good feedback, not only from the consumers. I shared some of that with Mayor Creticus. We're in the Philadelphia market. As you can imagine, we were inundated with people so excited about the new ball player for the Phillies coming in. I had one of our hotel partners tell me that she had 60 room nights in the month of March from California. And that's the first time that they've had that many room nights from that market, and they attended all 3 shows that we did in California. So we're really trying to look and make sure that we can get back to you the metrics of the successes we've had at consumer shows like Travel and Adventure. And Travel and Adventure is growing. They're adding 2 new markets next year, great markets for us, Boston and Atlanta. So again, very cost-effective way to get in front of a lot of consumers with our partners. That's just another couple of photos. One of the main things we're working on right now is IPW. This is U.S. Travel Show. And this year it is in Anaheim. And this is the largest travel show in the United States. There are about 6,500 people that attend IPW. And these are international buyers from, again, across the world. They are suppliers from across the United States. And then there's also travel media that attends this show. We have 10 industry partners that will be part of our aisle this year. We also have 4 additional partners that will be in Anaheim. They will either be in their corporate booths or they have a marketing badge, so they won't have a physical booth in our area. But between our staff, USA and Canada, me, our Latin American department, our Central European, Marion from our Central European office, and Shireen is coming over from our UK and Ireland office. We'll have over 160 appointments at this 3-day show out in Anaheim. So should be a really, really good opportunity for us to meet with, just to get a pulse of what's happening in the industry. It's a chance for our partners to talk about rates and opportunities with these very important wholesalers. And then we also have somebody from Leroy's department that's going to be with us to make sure that they're covering all of the media opportunities that present themselves at IPW. IITA is something you may not have heard about in a while. This used to be called RSAA, which was the Receptive Operators Association of America. It is now the International Inbound Travel Association. These are receptive operators. They act as a middleman for smaller tour operators that may not have the resources to actually talk with the hotels and negotiate rates. They will buy rates through these receptive operators. And IITA is actually coming to St. Pete in 2020. So it's a great opportunity for us, number one, to bring in room nights to the destination, but also to have 50 to 60 operators right here in our own backyard being able to take advantage of seeing the destination and learning more about the destination. It should say there February 1 through 7. So there will be some committee meetings as well as the summit itself. About 250 participants in all. About 60 of those are the receptive operators. So we are looking forward to the opportunity to host them. It was in Savannah last year. Myself and the representative from the hotel were able to go to the conference and actually see what it was all about, and we're really looking forward to having them in our area. There's a lot of potential for these operators to bring new business to Pinellas County. It's not just the traditional receptive operators that we've worked with year over year. There's a lot of new business to be had from this conference. And thank you to Suzanne and her team for being able to bring this conference to our destination. They did a great job in putting that together for us. And then one of our other great partners is Allegiant Air, and we are looking at this summer doing some sales missions in some of their key cities. What we do is we talk with the airline, and we make sure that we are getting information from them on what markets they feel like we need to be in. And just to give you some numbers, we're looking at Cedar Rapids, Iowa, Moline, Peoria, and Bloomington, Illinois. This market has generated this last year over 4,200 room nights worth of business to the destination. So we're heading back to those markets to make sure that the travel agencies and the travel, travel advisors in those cities, that's a new word we're using now, not travel agents, travel advisors. And we're going to be meeting with them. Also, Allegiant does have a travel advisor platform. So they do pay commissions, unlike other airlines, and they do pay really good commissions on the packages that they put together. I'm looking at Tulsa, Oklahoma, Springfield, Branson, and then Appleton, Green Bay, Milwaukee, and then the Tri-Cities, which is Bristol, Johnson City, Kingsport. That's all Northeast Tennessee, Asheville, and Greenville. Those three markets did about 1,500 room nights, 1,200 room nights, and 1,100 room nights. So we're, again, going back into those cities because we feel like there's a lot of untapped potential in those markets. Also, Allegiant does have business development managers, BDMs, in those cities, so they make sure that we are calling on the travel agents that are currently giving them business and have the potential to give them even more business. So we do a lot of due diligence before we go into these markets. Again, we get great participation from our hotel partners that see these room nights come to fruition at their individual properties. And then, of course, we're very, very busy with FAMs. We've had 6 so far this year. Again, these are educational visits to the destination. We make sure that we get them to every part of Pinellas County, from Tarpon Springs down to Fort DeSoto Park, showing them everything that their customers can experience when they're in the destination. We've had FAMs from Amsterdam, the UK, and Germany so far this year. We're looking at doing a super fam. It'll be over 35 people from the UK and Ireland coming up in September. We also have Travalco, which is one of those big receptive operators I had mentioned. Their office is in Miami. They've got about 50 to 60 people in their office, about bringing some of their folks over here to see the destination in person. And then, of course, we work with Allegiant on bringing in travel advisors from some of the major cities that Allegiant flies into our destination. So those FAMs are currently in the works. And that is a quick overview of leisure travel.
You've been incredibly busy.
We have. It's a great team, and been having a really great season. Had a lot of again, wonderful participation from our partners. Not only when they travel with us, but when we have FAMs, they really support what it is we do, giving us accommodations, making sure that we have meals and fun things for these people to do. We want to educate them about the destination, but we want them to go back inspired about being great salespeople for us.
Anybody have any questions for Rosemary? Yes, sir.
Good morning. Thank you. Great job.
Thank you.
A lot of work. The February conference next year for the IITA, they're going to be busy for those 7 days at the Serrata. Do you guys organize tours around the county to kind of highlight
That's a
certain
very
things?
good question. We actually are looking at doing some post-conference tours for the operators. So we will be reaching out to the industry to try to put those together. Probably will be somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 20 operators that will stay in the area to really have an opportunity to get out and see what else is there. Again, a lot of these are not currently selling our area, so it's a great opportunity to build new business.
Thank you.
So we'll be reaching out to all of our partners for that.
Great
Thank you
job.
again.
Thank you so much. Next, we have a Creative Pinellas update. Welcome to Barbara St. Clair, who is the Executive Director for Creative Pinellas.
Good morning. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm delighted to be able to tell you what's going on because we are your arts and cultural partner. As the local arts agency for for Pinellas County, we are an independent nonprofit agency devoted to supporting the arts, artists, and this cultural destination. We are located in the Pinewood Cultural Park near the Botanical Gardens, where you'll find our offices, our arts business incubator, and an expansive gallery, courtyard, and auditorium. Our mission is to facilitate a vibrant, integrated, collaborative, and sustainable Pinellas County arts community and cultural destination. And we have 6 pillars of strategic focus: encourage creativity and innovation, make arts available to all, create vibrant communities, build capacity, promote economic development, and showcase Pinellas County as a cultural destination. We have a number of ongoing programs. We have meetups that we hold throughout the county. Our meetup yesterday was in Gulfport. We probably had 40 people. We've met the month before that. We were in Clearwater. We are in Palm Harbor, Largo. We're at the beaches. We travel throughout the county so that we can connect people north, south, east, and west. We have workshops that work with artists and arts organizations on areas of strong interest to them to help them learn how to do things like run marketing plans or build their business. And we have arts and innovation conversations where we bring in experts to talk about the relationship of art to the newest things in technology. We have a grant program, and that includes Professional Artist Grant. We're in our 4th cycle for that. Our Emerging Artist Grants, where we work with young artists, we give them a mentor, and then we give them a show every September. And then a recent new grant that we did in partnership with the Pinellas Community Foundation for artists over 60 to develop art projects that deal with aging in place. And in celebration of that program, we had an event on February 22nd at the Gulf Coast facility, and over 500 people attended. We have 2 new grants. Our Arts Up grant is to bring performances and exhibits to the gallery where we're located. And also, just recently, we launched an educational grant for youth, where Pinellas County youth between ages of 5 and 18 can apply directly for grants to go to arts and cultural day camps or programs. And that's very interesting to us. We already have 50 grants given, and we believe that we'll be able to give between 200 and 300. And the young people can use those grants anywhere they want, as long as that day camp offers arts and cultural program. We have community partnerships. So we partnership with the Tampa Bay Innovation Center for a Coast Artist program, which is a 9-week program devoted to artists to help them create their arts as a business. We are partnering with Forward Pinellas on an envisioning project for Alt 19 to create a cultural corridor. We work closely with the county's arts alliances, and we have annual summits every year. Our coming up summit that we're planning right now will be on arts and tourism marketing. And we are also engaged with arts organizations countywide to develop our community and strategic plan. If you have not come down to our arts incubator at the former Gulf Coast Museum of Art, right next to the Botanical Gardens, I invite you to come. We have about 8 nonprofit arts organizations with us who have either office or co-working space there. And we have also activated that gallery for community use. We've had 2 emerging artists show. We've had our PAVA membership show, the Xavier Cartata exhibit, Cheryl Oring exhibit, which is there right now in the courtyard, our Festival 50 celebration. And since we've been in that facility, we've had over 10,000 visitors to the gallery and incubator events. And I want to add as a side note that many of them are tourists, because tourists are looking for things to do. They come to the Botanical Gardens, they come to our event. and then they come back. We've actually had people who said, I was here last year for this event. I'm from Canada. I come here when I came back, I wanted to find this event again. So it really is building itself as a tourism destination. And because of its location, it's a county tourism destination. Upcoming in the gallery, we have some wonderful plans for the new year. We have artist Don Giolinella. We have Yucca de Mayo, which will be this coming May 5th, a full day of ukulele activities. The Dunedin Music Society, Garden Fairies Wearable Art. We have Akiko Kotani, who is our artist laureate. We'll have a show starting June. Something very exciting is in February, there's an artist named Horst Mueller, and he paints in 2D, but he builds up that paint so it's very dimensional, and he does that for sight impaired and blind so that they can actually experience the art tactily, and we will have that show in February. And we also have ongoing programs with Heritage Village and with the Botanical Gardens. We work with them very closely on their holiday light show. For our website, for the community, we have announcements and we have our directory for artists and venues and activities. We also have an arts magazine. I make a bad joke because I say it's worth reading if you live in Pinellas or Texas. And it's a bad joke because Pinellas and Texas doesn't really rhyme. But the point is that we have readerships all over the country and actually throughout the world. And we also do weekly podcasts where we're promoting individual artists or activities in Pinellas County as a cultural destination. In the last number of years, our website traffic has increased over 300% and continues to trend up. We currently are on the verge of launching a public art project that will travel around the county. It's called Spacecraft, and the team that is working on it is purchasing 2 shipping containers and then refurbishing them, and it will travel all the way from North County down to the South County, east and west. It's going to start in Oldsmar. It will move to St. Pete. It will be at Pier 60 Park in Clearwater. And it will be at each of those locations for 2 months, offering arts and cultural programs for young people and adults around the themes of make, play, read, and grow. We are also starting a project with the county where we're helping the county with its public art. I don't know if any of you have been down to the courthouse in St. Pete recently, but we just worked with the county to refurbish the red chairs that were having some real issues, and we worked with a conservation company and have brought those red chairs back to life. And we are starting a graffiti abatement mural program. Our first mural will be at Boot Ranch, where the underpass behind Publix, where the Pinellas County Trail Extension will be built in the next few years. We also are very excited to talk to you today about our Arts and Tourism project. This was a project that was funded for 2019. We brought on Lee Davis, who is expanding our program to enhance visitor experience. She has already met with 30 leaders from the tourism industry, working on key programs, including an arts and cultural guide, which we have already launched, an artist series with the Tampa Bay Rays. The first print for that series is going to be available this coming weekend with a local artist, and the Rays will be promoting those artist prints in all of their promotions nationwide. We're planning an arts and tourism trade show for the summer of 2019, an arts advisor training program for the fall of 2019, an All Pass project that we're working on, and a beach art walk art week for 2020. The other benefit of having Lee on board is she's a dedicated partner for enhanced connection and collaboration with St. Pete Clearwater. She was unable to be here today and gives her regrets, but she will be attending these meetings. And we also have our Digital Navigator project. We brought on Kim DeVito, who has joined the team as a product owner. And that is an advanced database capture that's meant to solve the problem of manual entry for all the amazing arts activities. It's going to go and collect all of that electronically using bots that they have developed, and will presented concierge quality personal recommendations for what people can do, see, and experience when they're visiting Pinellas County. We are in the process of establishing an expert advisory committee, defining the scope of work, and vetting the technology partners, and testing the proof of concept. And that basically is the presentation to you today. I'm hoping that you have some questions for me. I'm hoping that you're excited about what you heard, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Great presentation. Does anybody have any questions for Barbara?
I'll make a comment if I could. A couple of us visited her offices and everything that's down there, and I hadn't done it in years. And I recommend if you're down around Walsingham to stop and spend 45 minutes and let her give a tour and what's there, what's potential down there. And it was amazing to see who was in the parking lot getting out of cars and walking that area and visiting that area. I think there's some great potential there.
Thank you.
And I was very pleased. It's been years since I've been in.
Yeah. It's really come back
Yeah.
to life, faster really than we had even predicted. It's as if people were waiting for that to happen. But thank you so much.
Anyone else? Tony, ex officio board member?
Yeah, no, I have been on the board now for over a year and extraordinarily impressed with where we're going and the amount of work that Barbara and her team do. There's 4 employees there. It's just very hardworking group.
It's amazing.
We're going to provide a lot of value to the community. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We were pleased that you were here today, and keep on doing the good work and attracting tourists and all of that good, all those good things. Okay, Visit St. Pete, Clearwater Interim President and CEO report. Paul?
Sure. So I want to thank you all for the privilege to report out. It's I appreciate the staff giving me the softball report. It's kind of good that I get to report the happy news, I think, as far as the economic side of the fruits of everyone's labor here that we're working towards. So for the numbers that are coming in from February, I'm going to bring the presentation up.
Pete, can you bring the presentation up? There we go.
So you can go to the next slide, Pete. So again, reporting out for the numbers for 2019, when you're looking at rooms sold, ADR and RevPAR, you can see we continue to trend positively year over year. The next couple of slides are the breakouts actually for each one of those in comparison to others around the state. And then the next slides would be your year-to-date for the same categories with room sold, ADR, and RevPAR. Again, seeing that positive trend year over year for year-to-date. And then the next 3 slides would be the breakout of each of those individually compared again to those that are around the state. So I think it's great news, certainly a banner year for tourism again in Pinellas. From a tourism development tax standpoint, for year over year for the month of February, we're up over 7%. And then I think for the next slide, when you look at year to date, for year over year from the months October through February, we're up just over 2.5%. So again, very good news. Certainly a lot of that from the work for Rosemarie, but also others on the team that are helping to drive, you know, your policy and your direction, and where the rubber hits the road. This is kind of the fruits of what we're seeing coming back. So I don't know if there's any questions on any of that I can answer, or certainly the team.
What happened in Bay County? I mean, I know we always compare, but
I had that same question yesterday for Tim, and I think it's them
Occupancy
coming
is-
back online after the storms have ripped through there last year.
And then this is October. this is February, but if you get back here further, I believe the year-to-date is October through now. And then, so the red tide would have been affecting possibly October, yet we're still up. It's pretty good. Yes, sir.
Is it calendar year opposed to fiscal year?
It looks like October was down about 8%.
Yeah,
Fiscal.
but I mean, if you consider the
October
fact
1.
that even October.
Oh, the bed tax you're saying, yeah.
Even October was.
Right.
Obviously, it was hit because we were still experiencing a lot of the media, but, and the trend so far this year has been incredibly good, so it's great news.
It seemed
Same
like we
question on
had record
Bay County.
crowds, that's for sure.
What's that?
The Bay County.
Yeah, I don't.
I think that was the
Definitely an
workers.
outlier there somewhere.
Workers, the cleanup and the
Oh, yeah, okay.
of what rooms that were still left to be
Right.
occupied.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. A lot of them are shut down.
And then you also have the destination analyst report in your packet.
Yes, this is
Interesting.
provided for your information for the month of February, and then your overall metrics. Yes, I read through this yesterday. It was very impressive.
All excellent news. And February bed tax was up 7.27% as well. So, all good news. Any other questions? Yes.
On this one report that says attractions visited, communities visited, I noticed that they break down Clearwater Beach, Clearwater, St. Pete Beach, and Pass the Grill. As far as I know, Pass the Grill is part of St. Pete Beach, and Clearwater Beach is part of Clearwater. Why wouldn't those numbers be combined?
Leroy just stepped out to prepare for the workshop, so yeah, it is detailed, but I'll ask Leroy to address that question and follow up with you on exactly why we happen to pull that out as a data set.
But Pass the Grill is part of St. Pete Beach.
As of today.
Yeah. Clearwater Beach is part of Clearwater.
As of today.
Today.
Tim, I don't, it's not really a question, it's a comment. I guess I'm a little surprised the home share is only 1.6%, and year-to-date it's only 1.7. It seems awfully low. I mean, it seems like it's such in the forefront of so many conversations we have, and yet it's.
It does. I don't think we as a group have comprehended that component yet, but again, I think what I'll do is sit with Leroy and follow up with you on that.
I would like to know how we generate that number,
Okay.
those numbers, because it's actually part of a column of numbers, but it's a little surprising how low it is.
Okay, we'll follow up on that.
Thank you.
As far as the different regions, I think it's probably good that they break it out because, Clearwater is one city. However, you can add the stuff together if you want to, but knowing what Clearwater Beach is doing, that region versus the rest of Clearwater might be good information.
Still a community.
I understand. You can add them together to get the total community. But I'm just saying just to see what the region is doing, what Clearwater
Well,
Beach is.
why don't you do that for the other cities then, Mr. Henderson?
I don't know. I have just getting my eyes on this report the first time, so I'm just commenting that I think regionalizing in different centers does make sense.
Can we go back to Tony's comment previously about the Airbnb or the VRBO percentage? There was some legislation that's happening in DC right now, and it's going to potentially, it has legs, and it's going to potentially impact voluntary tax collections from local municipalities with regards to VRBO rentals. And of course, we have an agreement with Airbnb here for that bed tax collection. And admittedly, I think it's fairly modest for what's going on in the county still, to your point. But I have a feeling that this federal ruling, and I'm looking at it right now, it's a Supreme Court decision, Wayfair versus South Dakota, where basically there has been a ruling that says that it's illegal for a local municipality to impose its own bed tax for something that's transacted multi-state, across multi-state lines. And so I just want to bring it to everybody's attention that I feel like pretty soon here we may be faced with overturning our ability to collect that tax, and subsequently it's going to have to be collected at the federal, or it's going to be mandated that it's collected through a federal ruling, which will dictate to us what level of bed tax collection we can collect. Hopefully it'll be more if it happens, but it is something that I think everybody should be aware of, because that's a big fight at the federal level with regards to VRBOs. It's American Hotel Lodging Association, which I serve on the board, is deployed people virtually in every state and every city to try to get it under wraps. And so it could impact these numbers here in upcoming months.
Could you make sure, Michael, that our tax collector is aware where this is at this time? And they're very much usually on these things, but because they actually, the amount that we do collect is a pretty good number, if I remember right, and they've been aggressive for years now.
Yeah, I mean, because it does cover the VRBOs and the HomeAways of the world, so this could have a multiple impact for sure. So we will keep you apprised as we learn more and how we propose to address this, but it is potentially impactful. Thank you, Keith. Other board member comments?
I have two items. One, you know that I've been very supportive of the international members of SOCOM and CENTCOM and the military over in Tampa and MacDill and the coalition forces. And they claim I've done this for 12 years, and I can't remember how many years. So, but on Sunday I hosted 425 and got the support from the CVB on it also, that we had 300 adults and 120 kids from up to 60 different nations. It's somewhere between 50 and 60 nations. And it's really an international sight to see. We feed them all under a big tent that we have each year on the beach, and from 1 to 4, and they go wave running if they can, and just games and so forth, and feed them different foods that we have to try and satisfy everybody. And they paint T-shirts that they take home, and it's just quite a sight to see. I say it's the biggest, widest fam trip the county sees. And when you talk to the people, I know that we've benefited from it from some countries that I don't even know where they are. They're somewhere in that middle stand country, to trade winds, to condos. I have a person that's going back home after 4 years, back to Germany. Is tied back to the embassy. And Mark and his family have rented a condo for the last month they're here down in Treasure Island. And so it exposes the beaches. But it's really an international site to show them what America's about. And I have people that come up to me that say, you know, back home, and these are countries in Europe that say, we won't tell our neighbors that I'm in the military. They don't do these things. We aren't regarded the same as here. And so it's quite very rewarding, but it also shows our beaches, and they bring their families over while they're stationed here. So it's quite a thing. The other thing I have is I asked Tim about it. I read, I think it was in the newspaper, about the Circle of Heroes, that underwater memorial that's coming in May. They came to us about doing it. They've done it on their own. I think that's going to be, this diving is going to be a great potential for tourism of a whole new market. And I know they're going to try and put a second one down towards St. Pete Beach somewhere. Did you find any more about that?
I don't have any more detail,
mean
but
to
I know
put you on
that's
the
in the
spot.
plans, is to do a north-south, and St. Pete Beach would be that. And I think Invitations went out to everybody here via email from David White.
Yeah.
It's
It's
on
May the 20th?
May 20th. I believe there's an excursion that goes out at 9 o'clock in the morning and it's back by 11 a.m.
I can provide a little information.
Okay. I think Paul may have further information for us.
Sure. So,
Bring your dive gear?
At least a mask and a snorkel, I would think. Yeah, sure.
so a little bit of background there. I mean, the Board of County Commission actually provided seed money to get them going, $50,000. Solid Waste Department, I just know this because I've been down there. We've been working close with J.D. White to kind of to move that on. So the procurement for the first 12 statues is complete. They're going to do a second procurement to finish out that project. And I think there is some discussion about putting another one on the south side, but we haven't really moved down that road yet. They haven't really approached us from a permitting standpoint, location or whatnot. I think they're concentrating on getting the first deployment down for this phase, finishing the second phase before they move on with a south location.
And JD did reach out last week to try to set up a meeting, so we'll
Be
put that
great.
together, and I'll bring back some more information if we have it for at least the May 15th TDC meeting.
I think it's a great venue that we haven't had before.
Yes.
Doreen?
Just wanted to remind everyone of the National Tourism and Travel Luncheon, May 10th, for the Tampa Bay Beaches Chamber of Commerce, and that is being held at the Tradewinds Resort. So, would welcome everyone.
And Robin's here with us today. Do you want to say anything further? Okay. Great, thanks for bringing that up. Okay, is there any other board comments? I just wanted to ask, hey, Tim, would you mind putting? There was a wonderful article written by Lynn Fuller about Phil Henderson Sr. And I'll bring it to our committee meeting, but it's quite a testimony to what a wonderful man he was. And having his son present, carrying on his legacy of promoting the tourism industry is just remarkable. And reading this just brought back lots of memories of your dad and all that he did here in this county. And so I just wanted to extend our sympathies as well as our thanks for all of the service that he gave to this county.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, with that, we are adjourned. We have a workshop in the fourth floor clerk's large conference room at 10:15. So I will see you all there. Thank you.